Okay, let's now have a look at Nimzo's game versus Vidmar. So Milan Vidmar, chessgames.com have nice little mini biographies, as well as Wiki having more detailed biographies. But briefly, you know, he was Yugoslav's first grandmaster, so he got the title in 1950. Like Botvinnik, actually, I think electrical engineering career, which was made his chess achievements all the more remarkable. So he was the first Yugoslavian grandmaster. He's defeated quite a lot of the top players in his time. I think he was in the top 6 for a number of years. He's beaten Alekhine. He's come first at Hastings, 1925-26. Anyway, so here he's like the second highest player in the tournament that Nimzo beat. So he's playing very solidly against Nimzo, the dreaded triangle formation, which we've done a few videos of before. So how does Nimzo play against this dreaded idea that White just plays bishop g5 with the intention of not providing any biting points for White, so this dreaded triangle setup? Well, Nimzo fears it already. He fears that White's going to play c3 and get a very comfortable, solid game. He's ready for it. He's ready to pounce on White's queen side like he has in other games, very energetically, with the move, very early queen move sortie, queen b6. So hitting b2, dislodging the queen for a more comfortable d1 square to have to go and protect that pawn. White definitely doesn't want to play a move like b3. So the queen goes to c1. And this is still a very good way of playing against this system today. There's a very nice idea, queen b6. Now knight c3. And after c3, I think what's interesting for me, although this looks remarkably solid, we didn't really cover many downsides of this formation. I think this game exposes that there is a potential Achilles heel. And I think that Achilles heel, Achilles heels are in these two squares. The base of the triangle, these two pawns, are protecting f4 and b4. So if one of these can be distracted, either c takes to distract from b4 or e takes to distract from f4, then maybe black can positionally plough into these two near central squares, these f4 and b4 squares. But in this game, it was a beautiful demonstration of f4 play, not even routinely casting, going for the f4 square very energetically. So we'll see that d5, and now bishop d6, eyeing f4. After knight bd2, now c takes d4. So the triangle, it's being reduced from 2 to 3, and Nimzo's weakened that f4 square, and now he plays the very non-routine move, knight h5. So knight on the rim is dim, but breaking a principle, but the queen being dislodged a little bit, and knight f4 as a major threat, and maybe bishop f4 would pin that knight to the queen. Seems quite a logical move for the position. After knight f1, a move to defend f4. Now h6, the bishop retreats along that diagonal to try and keep an eye on f4, and now more pressure on f4, queen c7. So look at this battery on f4, maybe with black tempted to play f5, but there's always the problem of e5 being really weak if black plays f5 too quickly. So knight g3, and now knight f4, and Nimzovich is accumulating a small advantage already now by this attack on the bishop and g2. Unless White wants to play a move like bishop f1, and castling will be like massively delayed, or lose his light square bishop, or lose g2, it just looks as though Nimzo successfully picked on a key point to pick up the two bishops. This is start of a decisive accumulation of advantages. That dark square bishop is particularly valuable not to have a counterpart for White. So queen d1, and now another non-routine move. Nimzo wants to exert more pressure on this diagonal, and one way of doing this is to play for g6 and h5 and h4 to dislodge the knight, to expose h2. So g6, again, non-routine moves, accumulating advantages, like stealing them from a seemingly very solid pawn triangle game. Very solid, like London system-ish position for White. So h5, So white, maybe he didn't want such a sharp encounter, but he's getting a lot of aggression from black. So now finding Nimzo castles. Now king g7, preparing to carry on the assault with rook h8 and h4. So this diagonal is really being probed here. Rook ad1, a waiting move. Rook h8, preparing h4. Now h4 comes. And here, white commits another kind of bad move in a way. It enables Nimzo to win a pawn and increase his advantage. He plays knight e5, not factoring in the possibilities perhaps of rook h5, because after takes, rook h5 here is forcibly winning that poor pawn on the dark square. g3, rook takes e5, so Nimzo's a pawn up. Now comes back simply to g5, not even bothering to move the bishop, because that pawn's pinned now to the king. So more pressure on g3 at the moment. Now he takes on g3 and retreats that bishop. So it's been fantastic so far. Small accumulations of advantage, and this rook is ready to swing soon to the h8 square. So bishop d7 getting out of the way, potentially on this very valuable diagonal as well. Bishop's far from bad in inverted commas, especially because there's no pawn blocking in d5 from advancing. So the previous gain is also emphasising the power of all the pieces, bishops and the rooks. So f5 neutralises the f-file pressure. White was threatening queen f7. Queen e3 hitting that rook. The rook moves. Queen e2. No apparent direct threat here to worry about. So more attacking pressure is now placed on the diagonal on h2. Bishop g3 is now threatened. Bishop c6 now, so the bishops are raking down potentially these diagonals. Very nice aesthetic position for black to have. Rook g5, the rook's prepared to double now. So again, coordinate a lot of pieces against h2 and g3. Knight g2. Now the breakthrough move, f4. Nimzo's not concerned about sacking pawns to rip open the opponent's king. G takes. Actually, it's not even a pawn sack because the knight's pinned anyway. So bishop takes f4, just exerts more pressure on h2. White's getting smashed on the king's side. Queen f3 and now d4. Attacking the queen. If queen takes f4, bishop takes g2 looks crushing. So bishop e4. Now rook f5. So nice pin on that queen, threatening to move the bishop and put more pressure on f2 and win more material. Queen g4, now check. Rook takes e1, very forcing sequence now. Bishop g3. So Nimzo's going to win the exchange back after losing the exchange on f5, but first also he can insert this check to bring his queen into the action more. So even though the rook's not pinned, he's still winning the exchange here, because the queen is now attacked as well as the rook, and now he just consolidates into this winning end game now. So this winning king and pawn ending is trivially won because the black king is getting to the white pawns much quicker than the white king can get to the black pawn. So he's just trivially winning this king and pawn ending now. Okay, a beautiful game against the pawn triangle, I thought, against white's seemingly very solid play. So Nimzo is obviously targeting these potential Achilles heel squares b4 and f4 very, very quickly, very, very energetically, very dynamically. Doesn't mind about knights on the rim. There's a particular goal here to collect the bishop pair and to exert more and more pressure on this diagonal. So castling was just a way of getting the king a bit safer before carrying on that intensification of pressure with h4. Now he's forcibly winning a pawn. Beautiful accumulation of advantages we're witnessing here. So getting all his pieces now bearing down on white's king side once the rook goes to h8. Now there's bishop c6, threatening lots of dangerous things like d4. So knight e3, the rook's prepared to double, but now actually we see the blow f4, so it's not even a pawn sack because the knight's pinned. There's too much pressure on white's king side, and this forces through a consolidation right into the endgame, a king and pawn ending, which is the safest way kind of to win. It's just so trivial, the king and pawn ending. So beautiful play by Nimzovich. I'm sure you might agree. Comments or questions on YouTube? As far as the evolution of style, they had to face these seemingly rock solid systems with no biting points offered to the opponents. But Nimzo is very attacking and resourceful. Great game. Thanks very much.